Hello everyone, in today's video I would like to show you how I make this beautiful front facing hoop stud earrings. If you are my subscriber, you might be able to have watched on the previous video where I demonstrate on how to create the same earrings in gold filled material. Well, today it's going to be a demonstration of how to make it in silver metal. So the same wire, same style, but a different material. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope that you like the way I show things around here. Without further ado, let's get to work. Along with the soldering kit, these are the tools that is needed. From the closest to the camera, cross pin hammer, marker, wire cutters, the 18 gauge and 20 gauge silver wire, mandrel, and 3 pliers. You also need a rawhide mallet and a ruler. Let's measure the 18 gauge wire, 4 cm times 2 pieces. You also need the 20 gauge wire, 1 cm each for the stud. Take the 10 mm diameter pliers and shape the longer wire into a circle. Once it's done, the two edges need to be filed flat. This is the first step of the soldering preparation. Starts by opening the circle. You can file flat using a needle file or a sandpaper. At this point, it doesn't matter as long as they are shaved. Once they are flat, close the two edges. I'm adding a tension between the two edges so it will stay close. Okay, let's venture another option to file these edges flat. It's with this machine. I added this universal collet on the flex shaft so it can fit any size of drill bit. First, I need to unscrew the collet, put in the bits, and screw tight while pressing this button. The brand of my rotating tool is Dremel, and the drill bit is Dremel Disc Abrasive. I also install a foot pedal separately. So right now I'm testing the insulation. It seems solid. So let's file this end. So I hold the piece like this. Depends if you're right or left-handed. Just watch the video to understand the coordination. It only takes 2 seconds to shave it off. Very simple and fast. But you need to have a certain proficiency of this machine. And always be careful. Right now what I'm doing is I'm drawing the two edges close like how it was done on the previous circle. And using the flat nose plier to keep them very close also help. Right now I'm cutting 1 cm each of 20 gauge wire for the stud. Then I'm also going to file the edges flat using the Dremel disc abrasive. Next is to put all these into the flux. If you want to know about how to prep this, please watch my previous video where I explain more detail about it. So once the components are completely covered by the white paste, they are ready to be soldered. We're going to close the circle, and on top of it, we will put the stud stick so the solder will flow all together and fill the gap between all these 3 points. I'm using the cross lock tweezer and the third hand, of course. So that I can hold the stud exactly perpendicular to the circle. To have it stay perpendicular, I'm putting a light pressure from the stud to the circle. This is my setup. Since I only have 1/3 hand, The other cross lock is being weighted by the cylinder weight. I don't know where this is coming from, but to be honest, but it's now part of the most important tool for my bench. Now I'm going to apply the solder. I'm using hard solder, which contains 84.5% of silver. I bought it in bulk and cut it into small pieces, so I put the chip just right by the gap. I'm heating up the component right now. As you can see, they are crumpled and the bubble starts to form. Don't worry, these are the borax reacting to the heat that serve as a protection barrier. I may have cut the solder too small, so I'm going to restart this one. Failing at soldering happens more often than you think, for sure. I'm going to restart the process by cutting the bigger solder, and I hope that this is not going to be bad. I'm holding the fire steady and point the hottest part of the flame directly on the component half of the time, and I don't point all the time because silver is very sensitive. It can melt the stud very easily, especially on the second go. Today is not my day, you guys. Okay, let's see if it's successful. It looks like it's okay. We'll just go ahead and pickle these and then see how it goes after. Okay, it's out of the pickle. It is completely fine, but I really don't like how it's soldered. So I'm going to restart the solder again. The end didn't meet properly, so I'm salvaging the silver. So instead of cutting the new wire, I'm going to just cut this using the saw. Back to square one. Okay, back to the soldering block and new solder chip. I think it's ready now. Torch is also not working. Okay, it works now. I'm doubling up the speed of the video to save you time. Anyway, you get the idea, right? Okay, it looks good now, I think. I hope. Because I'm not ready to make another one here. Pickle. I'm installing this ring mandrel on the desktop bench pin. Basically, this heavy thing that can be screwed on your bench. You can use the flat part as an anvil. It has two slots, one for the wood bench pin and the other is for the mandrel. I got this on Etsy, very useful. So right now, we are going to make sure that the stud has the perfect circle shape. I'm using this ring mandrel and just punch using a rawhide mallet. I'm also shaving off some of the extra solder. This happens, you guys, since remember of the accident earlier. So the advantage of the silver is that we can definitely file off the leftover without being scared of taking off some of the plating because Basically, it's a solid silver. I'm also filing off the edges to make it smooth and round. Normally, I don't have to file off the piece for too much, but since there are some level differences, I need to smoothen some part of the earrings. After this, I also um, sand the earrings using 400 grit sandpaper, then move on to 1000 grit, and finally 2000 grit sandpaper. It doesn't work all the time. Sometimes you have to do 400, 600, 800, 1000, 1500, and then 2000 at the end. I think it works this time. I'm skipping some of the hundreds. I don't use the 800, 1500 either. Since it's not a big quantity, I think it works. If you're hearing some of the whistle sound, it's my daughter. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm trying to always keep the sound on. That way you can hear how it sounds like when I work. But at the same time, I cannot stop people from whistling or singing behind me. Okay, I'm almost finished. Right now, we are moving on to hammer texture, to texturing the hoop earrings. I'm using anvil and a shiny hammer. It's called cross peen or ball peen or also goldsmithing hammer if you're looking for it. It's the brand is Frets hammer and the diameter of the head is 70 millimeter. But also, I think like it doesn't have to be a Frets hammer, you guys. As long as the head is smooth, you can definitely create the same work. Okay, right now I'm using the wooden mallet to harden the stud. Still on the anvil, I make sure that it doesn't leave any scar, so wooden mallet is perfect for this. And lastly, I am using this cupburr drill bit to round the edge of the stud. Other option, of course, is using the classic needle file. It gives the same result. The second to the last step is the polishing. I'm using this cotton buffer and polishing compound to make this jewelry extra shiny. You can also skip this step, really. If you have finished the job so well earlier on the sanding, all the way to the 2000 grit sandpaper, polishing using the compound is definitely optional. Okay, I'm done and I'm going to the last step is to wash them in the ultrasonic machine for 5 minutes. If you don't have the machine, soap and toothbrush also work. It will only take longer time to do it, but definitely doable. Alright, I am done here. What do you think? Here I am wearing the earrings to show you how it look like when it's worn. I think I prefer the silver color, to be honest with you, than the gold filled material. And sorry about the sound, you guys. She is practicing her French horn right now. So this is the end of the tutorial. I find it quite straightforward. However, if you are quite overwhelmed with the information, you can always come back and rewatch some of the difficult process. Before closing, I'm so excited here, you guys. I want to give a shout out to Kay, who created this beautiful flower phone chain by following my tips. Thank you so much for joining me today. I can't wait to see what are the creative designs that you come up with using the same technique. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and if you have any comment, please comment below. Happy crafting and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.